Good day, viewers. I'm here once again to discuss an important topic which is being tested under a given comprehension passage, and that is the grammatical names and functions. Some learners find it difficult to identify the grammatical names and functions under a given comprehension passage. To make it explicit and self-explanatory, I would like to discuss the following topics: the elements of clause structure and the phrases and clauses. Now let us start with the elements of a clause structure, which are SVOCA, SVOCA, or SPOCA. That S stands for the subject, V stands for the verb, O stands for the object, C stands for the complement, while A stands for adjunct. Now, the subject of a given sentence is either the doer or the performer of an action. It can either be a noun or a pronoun. For example, Paul killed a big snake. Paul killed a big snake. The subject there is Paul. He is the doer or the performer of the action of killing. That Paul can be substituted by using a pronoun, which is he. So we now have it as he killed a big snake. The verb. Elementarily, a verb is described as an action or a doing word. The verbs can be classified into two for the purpose of this particular topic: the singular verbs and the plural verbs. The singular verbs usually carry either S, ES, or IES. For example, we have goes, GOES. ES there is the tag, TAG, tag. In cries, CRIES, IES there is the tag. Laughs, LAUGHS, S there is the tag. While the plural verbs do not carry any tag. For example, we have go, we have cry, we have laugh, and so on and so forth. Now let us move on to object. An object can either be a noun or a pronoun under the predicate. What do I mean by predicate? Predicate is a group of words after the subject might have been removed. For example, in this sentence, I gave my book to Peter. I there is the subject, while gave my book to Peter is the predicate. So, let us analyze that particular sentence. I gave my book to Peter. I there is the subject. Gave there is a verb. My book there is an object, while Peter is an object. Complement. A complement is a word or a group of words added to an incomplete statement to make it complete, meaningful, and self-explicit. For example, Mr. Dick is. That sentence is not complete. To make it complete, we can add something of this nature, a trader. So we now have it as Mr. Dick is a trader. A trader there is the complement. Now let us analyze that particular sentence. Mr. Dick is a trader. Mr. Dick there is the subject, is the verb, while a trader is the complement. That complement is a subject complement. Is a subject complement because it complements Mr. Dick. So we now have it as a trader is Mr. Dick. Mr. Dick is a trader. This is another sentence. They elected him president. They elected him, you stop there, it is not complete. So president completes that particular sentence. We now have it as they elected him president. Usually, a complement answers the question what? They elected him what? President. So you don't need to put any article, whether a or as D or D. So we now have it as they elected him president. They there is the subject, elected is the verb, while him there is an object, while president is a complement. That complement, which is president, is not referring to they, but is referring to him. So it is an object complement. Now let us go for adjunct. An adjunct is an adverb or an adverbial. It can be that of time, that of place, that of manner, that of comparison, that of concession, and so on and so forth. Now let us look at this particular sentence. Mr. Johnson is a lecturer in one of the universities in Nigeria now. Mr. Johnson is a lecturer in one of the universities in Nigeria now. Let us analyze that particular sentence. Mr. Johnson there as the subject, is there is the verb. A lecturer there complements, that is, complete that particular sentence, is a complement, a subject complement. In one of the universities is an adjunct of place, while in Nigeria is an adjunct of place, while now it is an adjunct of time. That's why I said an adjunct can either be a single word or a group of words used as an adverb. Okay, now let us go for clauses and phrases. A clause is a group of words with a finite verb, as we also have in a sentence. But a phrase is a group of words without a finite verb. Now, let us start with clauses. Now, let us consider this particular long sentence and see the types of clauses we have there. I asked Mary how she felt, but she kept silent. Let me read that again. I asked Mary how she felt, but she kept silent. Let us underline I asked Mary, underline how she felt, and underline but she kept silent. We now have three clauses there. The first one, which is I asked Mary, is a main clause because it can stand on its own. How she felt is a subordinate clause because it depends on the main clause, which is I asked Mary. But she kept mute would have been able to stand on its own, but because of the introduction of that particular but, which is a coordinating conjunction. So we now have it as the main clause, subordinate clause, and the coordinate clause. Under the coordinate clause, under each noun, under each, still the main clause, the subordinate clause, and the coordinate clause. Under the subordinate clause, there, we have noun clauses, we have adjectival clauses, and we have adverbial clauses. Now, let us look at under adverbial clauses. We have that of time, we have that of reason, we have that of place, we have that of comparison, and we have that of concession. But under the main clause, we don't have anything there. Under the coordinate clause, we don't have this. Under the subordinate clauses, we have noun clauses, we have adjectival clauses, and we have adverbial clauses. And under adverbial clauses, it can be that of time, it can be that of reason, place, comparison, concession, and so on and so forth. Now let us start with noun clauses. A noun clause performs the function of a noun in a given sentence. A noun clause or phrase cannot modify and it cannot qualify, but it can only function as the subject of the verb, the object complement, the object of the preposition, and the subject complement or the subject of the verb. Now let us start with number one, with this example 1. Okay, before that, it is being introduced by such words as that, why, what, who, whoever, and so on and so forth. Example 1 here, that Mary is beautiful is undoubtful. That Mary is beautiful is undoubtful. Let us underline that Mary is beautiful. That Mary is beautiful, there let us underline, then is undoubtful. Then look at that particular that Mary is beautiful. That Mary is the head word and is an example of a noun. So, and is being introduced by this particular that. So it is a noun clause. It is a clause because there is a verb there, and that verb is. So it is a noun clause. Then if you are asked what is the function, you have to analyze that particular sentence as that Mary is beautiful is the subject, is there is the verb, why see there, which is undoubtful, is a complement. So the function now is, it is the subject of the verb is. You can see that particular is immediately after beautiful. Then example 2, we depend on what she sends home. We depend on what she sends home. S-E-N-D-S, home, H-O-M-E. Now let us underline what she sends home. Then now let us analyze that particular sentence. We depend on what she sends home. We there is the subject, depend there is the verb, on there is a preposition, while what she sends home is an object, because we can say we depend on her. Her there is an object, because I told you any noun or pronoun that comes under the predicate is an object. So that one is an object. So what is the grammatical name? It is a noun clause. Look at that, she is used before, it's used instead of what? Instead of a noun. So it is a noun clause and the object of the preposition. You see the object there? The preposition comes immediately before what she sends home. Example 3 here. Honesty is what we all needed. Honesty is what we all needed. Let us underline what we all needed. Then let us analyze that particular sentence. We have this particular honesty is the subject, is the verb, what we all needed is the complement, and that particular what we all needed is referring to honesty. So it is a subject complement. Let us identify the grammatical name. The grammatical name there is a noun clause. You should look at we there is a pronoun, and look at a verb. You know that particular verb is there, so it makes it a clause, and we have introduction of this particular word. So we have the grammatical name as a noun clause, while the grammatical function is the subject complement, or you say it complements the subject honesty. Okay, let's go for another example here. Her father's influence made her what she was. Her father's influence made her what she was. Let us look at what she was there. Though we have it as three words, I think you understand. But then it is a clause because of the introduction of this particular was. So look at the pronoun there, which can be used instead of a noun. So it is a noun clause. Then the function now we have to analyze. Our father's influence there is the subject. Made here is the verb. Then are is an object. What she was is a complement. That what she there was, that she was is referring to her, not her father's influence. So the function now is an object complement, or you say it complements the object are. Another example here, that is why I don't like sharing my secrets with others. That is why I don't like sharing my secrets with others. Now let us underline I don't like sharing my secrets with others. So now let us analyze. We have that is the subject. That is the subject. Is a verb. Why I don't like sharing my secret with others there is a complement. So the grammatical name there is a noun, grammatical name there, yes, is a noun clause. Look at I there, I is there, and we have a verb there, which is sharing. So it is a noun clause. Then the function there is a subject complement. A subject complement. Let us go for the last example here. His classmates classmates call him the name he does not like. His classmates call him the name he does not like. Now let us underline the name he does not like. What is the grammatical name there? Look at he is there, and we have a verb there. It makes it a clause. Then let us look at it carefully and see now whether it is a phrase or a clause. It is not a phrase because there is a verb there, which is does not like. Okay, so it is a noun clause. Then the function now, let us analyze. His classmates there is the subject, call there is the verb, him there is an object, why the name it does not like is the object. So an object complement. Now let us go for number 2. That is number 1, which is a noun noun clauses. Let us go for the second one, which is an adjective, might be adjectival clauses. Adjectival clauses. An adjectival clause performs the function of an adjective in a given sentence or passage. For example, before the example, it's an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. That is, it describes a noun or a pronoun. It is being introduced by such words as who, which, whose, that, whom. Now let us start with example 1. The woman whose car was stolen has reported to the police. The woman whose car was stolen has reported to the police. Now let us underline whose car was stolen there. Whose car was stolen that is underlined is describing the woman. So it is an adjectival clause. What is the function there? It modifies the noun woman, and you put that woman in quotation marks. Example 2, the boy who jumped over the fence has been suspended. Let us underline who jumped over the fence. Now, if we underline who jumped over the fence and is removed, we have the boy has been suspended. The sentence is still grammatical. So the grammatical name there is an adjectival clause. And what is the function there? It modifies the noun boy. Look at that boy comes before the group of words underlined who jumped over the fence. Another example, example 3, the chair which I brought to school has been stolen. Let us underline which I brought to school. So we still have the chair has been stolen. So which I brought to school describes the chair. So the grammatical name and adjectival clause, while the grammatical function it modifies the noun chair, and you put that chair in quotation marks. Example 4, Solomon, one of the wisest men that claimed wisdom, had passed away. Solomon, one of the wisest men that claimed wisdom, had passed away. Let us underline that claimed wisdom. We still have Solomon, one of the wisest men, had passed away. So the grammatical name of that particular group of words underlined is an adjectival clause. It modifies the noun men is not Solomon, because that particular group of words underlined is closer to men than Solomon. Example 5. The boy whom I gave the book to is absent. Let us underline whom I gave my book to. Then we have whom I gave my book to describes the boy. So the grammatical name and adjectival clause, while the grammatical function, it modifies the noun boy. Now let us go for adverbial clauses. An adverbial clause performs the function of an adverb in a given sentence or a given passage. For example, we have an adverbial clause of time, we have place, we have reason, we have concession, we have manner, we have condition, and so on and so forth. Now let us start with, before that, an adverbial clause modifies the verb. An adverbial clause modifies the verb. Okay, let us look at example 1 here. I hid my head where it was safe. I hid my head where it was safe. That hid is H-I-D. Let us underline where it was safe. Where it was safe there, it is the grammatical name there is an adverbial clause. And what is the function? It modifies the verb, that particular hid, H-I-D. Example 2. I failed to attend your birthday party because you didn't invite me. Now, let us, before then, in that particular sentence, I hid my head where it was safe. Where it was safe underlined, it is identified as an adverbial clause of time. If you are not too sure whether it's time or place, just stop at an adverbial clause. But if you are too sure, open a bracket and put of whatever, whether of place, of time, of reason, and so on and so forth. Now, example 2 there, I failed to attend your birthday party because you didn't invite me. Let us underline because you didn't invite me. The grammatical name there is an adverbial clause of reason, because you didn't invite me. And the function there modifies the verb failed. Now let us look at example 3. I saw Michael when I was coming from the market. When I was coming from the market underlined. Then we have, what is the grammatical name there? An adverbial clause of time. If you are too sure of time, if you are not too sure, just stop at an adverbial clause. And what is the function there? It modifies the verb saw. Saw there. You have to be very careful. You don't pick the verb from the group of words underlined. You pick your verb outside the group of words underlined. Example 4. Though the man is old, yet strong. Now, we can easily identify the grammatical name, which is though the man is old. It is an adverbial clause of concession. Then when it comes to what is the function now? I told you earlier on that you cannot take the verb from the group of words underlined, but after hold here, we have yet strong left as 2 words. Okay, where is the verb? Yet there is not a verb, strong is not a verb. The full fashion of that statement is, though the man is old, yet the man is strong. We now have it as though the man is good, yet strong. So is there in that the hidden word is there is that particular verb that it modifies. So the grammatical name and adverbial clause of concession, while the grammatical function it modifies the verb is. Now example 5. The woman treated me as if I were a fool. As if I were, W-E-R-A, a fool. Let us underline as if I were a fool. Then you have the grammatical name is an adverbial clause of manner. Manner, the way the woman treated me. And the grammatical function, it modifies the verb treated. The last example here is I will come provided you promise to entertain me. I will come provided you promise to entertain me. The grammatical name there, an adverbial clause of condition, that is the condition. Then what is the function? It modifies the verb will come. Will come there, you know we have two verbs there, one auxiliary, the other one lexical. You can put the two inside the bracket, will come. Then you put come, which is the main verb, into quotation marks. That ends today's lesson. Until another time when I come your way, I remain yours, Michael.